never know, looking down the streets of the Rice County town of Little River, Kansas, that inside the walls of this nondescript building is a multi-million-dollar cookie dough business. It's a business started by this woman, Carolyn Wright, in this house, that moved to this house, and eventually to where it now produces thousands upon thousands of pounds of the highest quality cookie dough you've ever popped into your oven. Carolyn's recipe for success involves nearly 20 years of hard work, heartache, persistence, and triumph. It all began when her husband's health began deteriorating.
I guess I just focused, and I knew that I had to make it work. And so I just kept on. I mean, you know, you just keep going, and like I said, because my husband was not in good health, this was my only real avenue. I loved what I was doing. I had to continue doing it, and I had to find my niche. I did many different things. I manufactured pies, I sold sugar-free cookies, and I did all this in the retail market. And during all those years, I kept trying to find my market niche, and small companies need to do that. And so finally in '95, I started with fundraising, you know, tubs of cookie dough. And it took a few years for that even to take hold, but it did.
Carolyn struggled for years, even going through bankruptcy to make her business profitable. 10 years after starting her business, she had moved from retail to her niche in the world of producing 10 kinds of cookie dough for fundraising. That's when the profits started pouring in.
Well, I started out that I wanted to make the world's finest cookie. That was my goal. And I went through all kinds of different recipes and trying. And at that time, my 3 children were at home, my 3 sons, and I made them my guinea pigs. And so they had to test, and I mean, that went on for, you know, a year or 2, and it finally got to the point where they didn't even want to try them anymore. You cannot buy the quality of cookie that we manufacture at a grocery store. It just isn't there. And the quality of ingredients that I use, and I use lots of chocolate chips, lots of plump raisins, and white chocolate and macadamias and all those things, and I use lots of them, and that's what makes the difference in the quality and the taste.
Carolyn's success story is one of sheer will, since she never formally trained to run a food company.
Yeah, there were a lot of, well, hard times, good times, stress times, and I did it on the job because I did not have a degree in any kind of food. You know, I didn't know it. I just knew the love of it, the love of cooking, love of baking, and, you know, as you get into all that, I think that's part of what the hats you're wearing. You go from loving cooking and you're mixing and you're doing this, and then you delegate to others.
The others now in her family business include sons Wade and Brian. Wade is taking over marketing and sales from his Uncle Jim. And Brian, who's also a veterinarian, handles production as vice president of operations.
My favorite part of the job, I think, is when somebody asks me what I've done all day, is to say that I made cookies with my mom.
That's his job.
Carolyn proudly says Brian's hard work and vision have the little old cookie house positioned for future growth.
He has a foresight that I don't know of anybody who is capable of that but him. And he saw that if we don't automate, we can't grow. And it is a family-owned business, and we work it that way, and I want to leave this as a legacy, this business as a legacy for my family. I'm dedicated to that, and I think they must be too, or they wouldn't be coming into business with me. I don't control them. I allow them to go do what they know they can do best, and then we work together as a family.
I like working with my mom. You know, I like it when she challenges me, and my brothers, and we do the same to each other, and that's good. It makes you think about what's your idea and what you're doing a little more, you know, if somebody will challenge you on it, and that's a good thing. The thing that you always have to remember, though, she's always your mother, and don't ever forget that. And she's the one that has started this, given everyone a livelihood here, and has really done the struggling and just stayed after it. Things were tough, things were hard, and she just pressed on. I mean, I don't know if I don't think I'm an entrepreneur that has that kind of guts just to stand in there and do it, and she does, and that's what's really made her, is just her tenacity.
You know, Sharon, it's pretty terrible, but I still love my own cookies. if you're going to go into business for yourself, I think number one, have a lot of energy and work really, really hard. You have many, many hats to wear, and you've got to wear them all, and you have to try to balance that, and it is a balancing act. And I think that to have a really good work ethic and be willing to do whatever it takes. And I think also that, of course, you have to be willing to risk. It is a risk, and you have to be willing to risk it and to accept whatever happens during that time. That's a tough one, I think, sometimes. And I think most of all, and certainly very important, is you have to be persistent in what you're doing. The problems that happen, don't let it stop you. You keep on going, you keep on trucking, you do whatever it is. So sheer tenacity and persistence, you need those. It's exciting. It's awesome. And sometimes when I think about it, it's just like, wow, how did we get here? It is fun.